Hi, Nicholas. Thank you for joining us this time of year. We completely appreciate how busy you are, so let's dive right into it. I will direct the first question to Dana Holly, our finance manager at On the Mark.
Can you tell us a bit about what you see as the most significant events in the history of your organization?
Well, if you want the history of the organisation, you've got to go right back to the 15th century, where we existed just to bring happiness and joy to people at Christmas time. Then along came the English Civil War. And I guess when you look back, the Puritans may have done us a favour, but at the time they banned Christmas, which caused a little bit of a panic in the industry. Lots of people closed down, there was some closures, but there was a lot of consolidation, and eventually we finished up with one organisation that we called Old Father Christmas. But of course, nobody knew we existed because we'd been closed down by the Puritans. Fortunately, we got the reform, and we started our own marketing act, using the royalists actually to do some pamphleting for us, sending bits of paper out, letting people know that we existed. And that really kept us going through the 18th century and the 19th century. We sort of muddled along. There was quite a lot of work, presiding over feasts and what have you. And we also did some work on mummers' plays. So we used to go out and do mummers' plays. So we were multi-skilled, but it was a small business, bringing happiness and joy to adults in the world.
That's not the organization we see today. What led to the change?
Yeah, so around the middle of the 19th century, two things happened which had a big impact on us. First of all, we heard people singing about this thing called the Star of Wonder. And we didn't know much about it, but one of the things that they said was that there's some commandments linked with this Star of Wonder. And the first of those was form follows function, which is a strange statement, but what we interpreted that to mean was if you work out what it is you want to do, you can then design an organisation to do it. The other thing that was happening was that over in the US, there was this guy called Santa Claus who set up a company called Santa Claus Inc. And he was gaining quite a lot of market share. What he was doing was going out to children, and if they'd been good, he gave them a present. And if they'd been bad, well, he carried a birch rod and he used that to deal with the bad children. And he did all this by carrying the presents around in a sleigh, which he had towed by reindeers. So we looked at this and thought, maybe there's something in this. Maybe there's something about changing the form of our organisation and making sure that we know what the function of the organisation is going to be. So we developed a new strategy. We changed our customer segment. We decided, right, in the future, we're not going to focus on adults, we're going to focus on children. And we're going to have a new product. What we're going to do is, rather than do feasting and wine for adults, we're going to do toys for children. But it was still going to be all about bringing happiness and joy. The only difference between us maybe and Santa Claus Inc. was we weren't going to carry a birch rod.
So, having developed a new strategy, what did you do next?
The first thing we did was worked out the value stream. What were the big steps in our work? And back then, it was nothing complicated. All we had to do was first find out what the children wanted, so identify their needs. Then we had to make it. Then we had to deliver it. So they'd send us a message up the chimney, that would be the need. We'd make this limited range of toys, and then we'd deliver them. Really simple operating model.
Okay, you knew what the work was, you knew how it had to be done, you knew how much, and you knew how often, and you knew when. What next?
We just followed the star that we'd heard about. So we knew what the value stream was. Our next step was to create some structure, to put some boundaries around the work in the value stream. We decided to set up three specialist teams. We set up a team called collection, we set up a team called manufacturing, and we set up a team called delivery. So a fairly simple organisation structure with boundaries around the work that we put into the value stream, and that worked really well for us right through the late 19th century and right into the early parts of the 20th century. It worked so well actually that we talked to Santa Claus Inc. over in America, and we decided to merge the two organisations to create what you know today as Father Christmas Inc. We made a couple of strategic decisions at that point. One was that we would keep collections local and we would keep delivery local. but we did decide that we consolidate all of our manufacturing into Lapland. So the structure in that early part of the 20th century, again, still quite simple. We had local collection, centralised manufacturing, local delivery.
So, I understand by what you've said, by the beginning of the 20th century, you had a simple three-step value stream, and you had structured the worker and country-based collection and delivery teams, and a central manufacturing team. So, if that was working for you, why redesign? And what did you redesign?
Yeah, late 19th century, early 20th century, as I said, we were growing fast, and we were growing fast across the globe. The one problem we were facing was we were creating what we now know as brand confusion. So depending on where you were in the world, Santa could be fat, he could be slim, he could be short, he could be tall, he might have a beard, he might not have a beard. So we decided we needed to do something about this to get some consistency around the globe. To do that, we made, I think, probably one of our few mistakes in our lives. We outsourced marketing. So we got an agency in to do the marketing for us. Some of you will know or have heard about our fantastic 1931 campaign, which led to a worldwide image of Santa or Father Christmas being this stout fellow with white hair, a beard, and all dressed in red. I guess the question we always ask ourselves nowadays back in the organisation is, if we hadn't outsourced the marketing, would Santa look like he does today? A question we can't answer because our marketing works so well. Everybody knows Santa as the guy in the red hat, the beard, stout fellow, quite tall.
So that redesign led to the creation of the brand image we all know and love today? How much has changed since the 1930s?
Yeah, in the last 50 years, we've seen lots of change. Most of it's been driven by a post-war growth in population and a post-war growth in prosperity. People have got more money. The world has changed a lot in the last 50 years. Big issues for us, I guess one big one that you'll all recognise is that the number of chimneys across the world has actually gone down. So our traditional delivery channel of children sending a message up the chimney, we had to address that, and new channels began to emerge. Actually, our number of customers has grown with the population growth, and their demands have changed. Back in the day, a train set for a boy and a toy for a doll for a girl, that would do it. Nowadays, children are demanding much more in terms of what that toy from Santa looks like. There's been a lot of change, and a lot of change in our organisation was driven by a major strategy review we did in the mid-50s. And we made some very big decisions then which drove the design of our organisation. Our first big choice was to outsource all of manufacturing. We decided that make it wasn't going to be a core competence for us. We couldn't keep up with the changing demands of all of our customers. So we outsourced that work to people who could meet that demand and could manufacture toys just in time and get them to us. So make it we outsourced, probably the first global multinational organisation to do that, and of course many others have copied us since.
Thank you very much for sparing the time to give us this fascinating insight into the evolution of your operating model. We do have one more question, if you may. You haven't explained the delivery process. Is there a reason for this?
Nice try. You know, I'm not going to answer that question. You know that our sleigh and reindeer delivery channel is our intellectual property. It's the thing that differentiates us from any other organisation, and we're not going to give away its secrets. So on that note, a Merry Christmas to you all, and hopefully see you next year.
Thanks, Santa.
We want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.